began to fragment at the edges. Whispers of fear and doubt circulated among the lionesses, and even the young males, who had previously admired him without hesitation, now cast furtive glances, filled with uncertainty. "Ragnar, do you really think we can hold our ground against Zuri?" asked Mara, a young lioness who had been with the pride since she was a cub. His voice shook slightly as he spoke, betraying the confidence he was trying to project. "She is bold and cunning, and her hyenas seem more organized than ever." Ragnar lifted his head, his amber eyes narrowing as he considered her words. "We face worse threats. Zuri may be smart, but she doesn't have the strength of a lion. Our strength is in our band, and together we will prevail." But as he spoke, Ragnar felt a twinge of doubt gnawing at the edges of his confidence. He could see the signs of anxiety in his pack's eyes, the way they fidgeted restlessly in the heat of the sun. He knew that if he didn't find a way to unite them, the threat posed by Zuri and her clan would only grow. Meanwhile, in the heart of the hyena clan's territory, Zuri stood atop a rocky ledge, her silhouette in stark contrast to the vast expanse of the savannah. The wind ruffled his fur, and his eyes shone with fierce determination. He had reunited his clan, and their spirits were high. The hyenas crowded around her, their ears pricked and eyes shining with anticipation as she began to speak. "Today marks the dawn of a new era," she declared, her voice rising above the murmurs of her followers. "For too long, we have lived in the shadow of these brute lions. They think they can intimidate us, but we are stronger together. We will recover what is rightfully ours. Ragnar and his band will no longer reign over this land. We will strike when he least expects it, and we will strike hard." The hyenas burst into a chorus of anxious yips and barks, encouraged by Zuri's words. She paced back and forth, her confidence radiating outward and lighting a fire in their hearts. They will create chaos in their territory. They will spread fear among their ranks. Ragnar may be powerful, but even the strongest can fall when divided. We need to sow discord among them. Make them doubt their leader. "Zuri," called one of the older hyenas, his voice heavy with skepticism. "What if Ragnar slashes? What if he attacks first?" Zuri shot him a withering look, her eyes narrowing. "We will be ready. Ragnar is a lion, and lions are ruled by their pride. If we can get them to question him, his strength will disintegrate. We're not just scavengers, we're predators in our own right. We will take the fight to them and show them that they should not underestimate us." As the hyenas cheered, Zuri felt a surge of power pulse through her veins. The taste of victory was near, and she could almost feel the weight of Ragnar's crown slipping from her hands. Back in Ragnar's territory, tension continued to boil. The lioness Mara approached him again, her eyes full of concern. "Ragnar, what should we do? They are becoming bolder. I'm scared for the puppies, for all of us." Ragnar stood up and began pacing, his mind racing with strategies. "We need to strengthen our defenses and ensure we are united. I will call a meeting tonight. We will discuss our options and prepare for whatever Zuri is planning." "But what if they attack before we're ready?" Another lioness, Kira, intervened, her voice thick with fear. "What if we lose more puppies? I can't bear to think about it." His words struck a chord with Ragnar. Each cub represented the future of the pack, and the fear of losing them weighed heavily on his heart. "We will not lose them. We will protect our own," he promised, his voice steadying. "I will not let Zuri's ambition destroy us." As night fell over the savannah, Ragnar gathered his band under the blanket of stars, the moon casting a silvery glow upon their gathering. He could see the uncertainty etched on the faces of his followers, their eyes reflecting the flickering shadows of doubt and fear. "Tonight, we stand together as one," Ragnar began, his voice carrying the weight of authority. We face a threat like we have never seen before, a cunning adversary seeking to divide us. But if we stand together, if we trust each other, we will prevail. Zuri may think she can manipulate us, but she doesn't know the strength of our bonds. The lions nodded, some murmuring agreement, their spirits beginning to lift. What if we set traps? Mara suggested, her voice gaining confidence. We could lure your hyenas into an ambush. Ragnar considered his suggestion, a spark of hope lighting within him. A cunning plan. We will use the landscape to our advantage. If we can anticipate their movements, we can turn the tide in our favor. But we must execute this with precision and stealth. The lions exchanged glances, a new sense of purpose dawning between them. We will fight for our territory, for our kits, and for Ragnar, Kira declared, her voice rising above the others. We will not let fear dictate our actions. With renewed determination, the gang began strategizing, their voices blending into a chorus of ideas, plans, and hopes. Ragnar felt the weight on his shoulders ease as he listened to their ideas, realizing that the strength of his pack lay not only in their leadership, but in their unity. As the meeting drew to a close, Ragnar's heart swelled with pride. He understood that the battle ahead would be fierce, but he felt confident that together they could face whatever Zuri had planned. However, little did he know, Zuri had already set her plan in motion, and the coming days would test the limits of her loyalty and strength. Unbeknownst to Ragnar, Zuri watched from the shadows, her ears perked up as she listened to the lions gathering. A wry smile spread across his face as he turned to his clan, his mind racing with new ideas to exploit their weaknesses. They think they can trick us, she whispered, her voice dripping with contempt. We will show them how wrong they are. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the savannah as the day of the confrontation approached. The air was thick with tension. Each animal seemed to feel the storm that was brewing. Ragnar stood at the edge of his territory, his golden mane blowing in the wind as he watched the horizon where Zura's clan was gathering. The lion's heart pounded in his chest, a mixture of resolve and uncertainty swirling within him. Ragnar, a deep voice broke the discussion through his thoughts. It was Cato, one of his most trusted lions, approaching with a serious expression. Are we ready for this? The pack is restless. Doubts whisper. Ragnar turned to face Cato, his eyes fierce. They need to understand that we are lions. We do not shy away from threats. Zuri thinks she can weaken us, but today she will learn otherwise. Cato hesitated, looking back at the pack which was scattered and anxious. But what if we lose? The hyenas are emboldened and their numbers grow. And then, Ragnar's gaze hardened. If we lose, we will lose our home, our legacy. I will not allow that to happen. He took a deep breath, trying to channel his inner strength. Gather the pack. We must remain united, or we will fall divided. As Cato nodded and moved to gather his companions, Ragnar's thoughts turned to the confrontation ahead. He had faced many battles before, but this one felt different. Zuri was cunning. He knew how to play his cards well. He felt that his confidence might be his greatest weakness, and he intended to exploit it. Meanwhile, Zuri watched from afar, her sharp eyes scanning the horizon. The hyena clan was gathered together, each member vibrating with excitement and anticipation. She was at the forefront, her posture commanding respect. Today, we take back what is ours, she shouted, her voice echoing among the gathered hyenas. Ragnar ruled in fear, and today we will show him the strength of our unity. The hyenas cheered, their voices rising like a tide. Zuri felt a thrill of power as she watched her clan. Remember our plan. Distract him and attack when he least expects it. The pride of lions is weakened, We can take advantage of this opportunity. As the sun sank lower, both sides prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Ragnar's pack gathered into a tight formation, their muscles tense and ready. "Stay together," Ragnar instructed, his voice low but firm. "We fight not just for our territory, but for our very existence." Tension crackled in the air. The earth beneath them seemed charged with the anticipation of battle. Then, with a sudden lunge, Zuri threw her clan toward Ragnar's band, and chaos erupted. The sound of growls and grunts filled the savannah, mixing with the beating of hearts and the stamping of paws. Ragnar fought valiantly, his claws extending as he slashed at the advancing hyenas. He felt the heat of battle running through him. Every move was a dance of survival, every blow a declaration of his will to protect his family. However, amid the confusion, Zuri proved herself a formidable opponent. They clashed repeatedly, their agility and cunning pushing him to the limit. "Is that all you have, Ragnar?" Zuri teased, a cruel smile spreading across her face. "His reign is over. The savannah will remember me as its true ruler." Ragnar growled, his eyes narrowing. "You underestimate the strength of a lion's heart, Zuri. You struggle with betrayal. I fight for something bigger." The battle continued, with each side fighting for dominance. Ragnar felt his strength fading, the hyenas' relentless assault overwhelming him. As despair began to creep into his mind, he remembered the faces of his pack, the innocent cubs that depended on him. At that moment, a fierce determination surged within him, igniting a hidden strength he didn't know he possessed. With renewed vigor, Ragnar advanced, pushing aside any hyenas that dared approach. He locked eyes with Zuri once more, and the world around them disappeared. "This ends now," he roared, his voice a powerful declaration that echoed across the battlefield. Zuri's smile faltered. "You think you can intimidate me? I already won." But Ragnar could see the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, and he continued. As he cornered her against a cluster of acacia trees, the chaos of the battle faded into the background. "You have been playing a dangerous game, Zuri," he said, his voice low and intense. "You turned your own clan against me, but they deserve better than your betrayal." Zuri's expression changed, the confidence draining from her face. "What are you talking about?" she spat, though her voice wavered slightly, revealing a crack in her facade. Ragnar approached, his presence imposing. "You manipulated them, fed them lies, to fuel your ambition. They deserve to know the truth about you." He turned, addressing the hyenas who were still engaged in the fight, their attention now focused on their leader's wavering bravado. "Look at her. She has led you into battle for her own gain, not yours." The hyenas' murmur began to grow, doubt spreading among their ranks. Ragnar seized the moment, his voice rising. "You are not just pawns in their game. You are strong, capable, and deserve a leader who fights for you, not against yours." Zuri's eyes widened, panic setting in as she realized she was losing control. "No! You are lying!" she shouted, but her words were met with growing dissent among her relatives. The hyena's murmur began to grow, doubt spreading like wildfire. Ragnar felt the adrenaline pump through him, had turned the tide, not with brute force, but with the power of truth. As Zuri realized she was losing control, her despair grew. "You fools! I led them to victory. You will regret this," she shouted, but her voice was muffled by the growing distrust between her clan. Ragnar took a deep breath, his heart pounding as he prepared to solidify his victory. The savannah held its breath, the outcome of the battle hanging in the balance. He knew that this was the moment that would define his future, and he would not allow Zuri to escape without challenge. "Stay with me," he told the hyenas, his voice firm and commanding. "Together, we can forge a new path, one where no leader betrays his own. Join me, and I will show you the true strength of unity." As the murmurs turned into a chorus of agreement, the realization of Zuri's betrayal settled among the hyenas like a storm cloud, ready to explode. The savannah was on the verge of a transformation, one that would change the course of their lives forever. The savannah was enveloped in a tense silence, the air thick with anticipation after the fierce battle that had just occurred. In the midst of the chaos, Ragnar stood firm, his golden mane catching the fading light as he took in the scene around him. The hyenas, once a formidable force under Zuri's manipulative leadership, now seemed lost and confused. His eyes flickered between Ragnar and his fallen leader, who lay in the center of the gathering, her cunning facade shattered. "Look what she did to us!" Ragnar roared, his voice echoing across the plains. The remaining hyenas, still reeling from the revelation of Zuri's betrayal, hesitated, their loyalty wavering. "You were pawns in her game, led to believe you were destined for greatness, while she sought only her own power." A murmur ran through the crowd, a mix of uncertainty and growing clarity. The light of the setting sun cast long shadows, and as the last golden rays illuminated Ragnar, he became a symbol of strength. "You have the choice now," he continued, his tone firm but inviting. "Stay with me, and we can restore balance to the savannah together. You are not just hyenas. They are as much a part of this land as I am." Zuri, still struggling to get up from the ground, felt the weight of betrayal weigh down on her. "You fools!" she spat, her voice dripping with venom. "Do you think he cares about you? He just wants to use them as a shield against his enemies." But his words fell on deaf ears, the hyenas now questioning everything they had believed. Ragnar turned to her, a fierce gleam in his eyes. "You manipulated them for too long, Zuri. It's time they see you for who you really are." Suddenly, one of the largest hyenas, a male named Kato, stepped forward, his stance defiant. "You led us into a trap, Zuri. You put us at risk for your ambition." His voice echoed, resonating with the growing discontent among the others. Zuri's eyes widened, panic taking over as she realized she was losing everything. "Kato, listen to me. I can still lead us. Together we can take back our power." But the tide had changed. One by one, the hyenas began to move away from her, their loyalty turning to Ragnar. They had witnessed the truth. Zuri's ambition had almost cost them everything. "He arrives," Ragnar commanded, moving forward. "You have a choice. Join me, and I will protect you as I protect my band. We can prosper in this savannah without the need for deceit and betrayal." With that, the remaining hyenas began to murmur among themselves, their uncertainty turning into resolve. Kato looked around, his eyes meeting those of his clans. "I will follow Ragnar," he declared, his voice firm. "Zuri betrayed us. It's time for a change." The murmurs grew louder, and soon the air was filled with voices of agreement. "We will stay with Ragnar," they shouted, their spirits rekindled. Zuri's face twisted in disbelief as she realized her own clan was rejecting her. "No! You can't do this to me!" she screamed, desperation seeping into her voice. "I am your leader. I made them strong." "Strong?" Kato retorted, his tone laced with mockery. "You made us weak. We were nothing but tools for their schemes." Ragnar approached, his presence commanding. "Zuri, your reign ends here. You will no longer manipulate anyone for your own gain." When Zuri tried to flee, a group of hyenas blocked her path, their eyes hardened with resolve. At that moment, Ragnar knew that not only had he regained his territory, but he had also managed to unite hyenas and their pack against a common enemy. "You are banned, Zuri," he announced, his voice firm. "Leave this place and do not return. You are no longer welcome on the savannah." With one final, desperate look at her former clan, Zuri realized she had lost everything. The very members she sought to control were now her captors, and the savannah she commanded was no longer hers. "You will regret this," she hissed, but her threats were drowned out by the collective determination of the hyenas and lions standing together. As she turned to flee into the shadows of the night, a sense of finality enveloped the scene. Ragnar watched her go, knowing that he had not only restored peace to his territory, but also healed the fractures within his pack and the hyena clan. As the dust settled, the atmosphere changed from tension to relief. Ragnar's band began to gather around him, their eyes filled with new wonder. "You fought bravely today, my friends," he addressed them, his voice full of warmth. "We faced darkness, but together we will thrive in the light." Cato stepped forward, his demeanor transformed. "Ragnar, we owe you our loyalty. You showed us what true leadership means." Ragnar nodded, recognizing the bond that had formed. "We will move forward, not as lions and hyenas, but as guardians of this savannah. Together, we will protect our home from any threat that dares to challenge us." The hyenas and lions approached, forming a circle of unity, their hearts aligned in shared purpose. Ragnar's roar echoed across the plains, a declaration of strength and resilience. The savannah responded, the grass rustling and the distant sounds of wildlife affirming their new alliance. As dusk fell, casting a blanket of stars across the sky, Ragnar was at the heart of the gathering, a protector reborn. Zuri's shadow might linger in the memories of those who followed her, but now, under Ragnar's leadership, a new era dawned on the savannah. The alliance between lions and hyenas would reshape the landscape, ensuring that the balance of power shifts toward cooperation rather than conflict. Ragnar, once feared as a solitary predator, had become a symbol of unity, a legend in the making. And, as the moon rose high, illuminating the vast expanse of the savannah, he swore to protect not only his pack, but the very essence of their shared home. The whispers of the past would disappear, replaced by tales of bravery, confidence, and the promise of a brighter future, one where the roar of a lion and the laugh of hyenas would harmonize in the wild. Guys, and you liked the video, if you want to help me sign up for my channel, because this way you will help me and give me strength to continue this work.